All right, there
Salute, King.
we go.
You got me
There we
now?
go. There we go. Yeah, yeah.
Talk to me, brother. I saw you was going in earlier today about the whole for the people in the stream yard. I sat on 19 Keys Live for maybe I was there for at least a good 10, 15 minutes. This dude go deeper than just talking about hip hop. He's talking about the crown. It needs to be earned. Talk about being culturally black versus being ethnically black. Like, we just get up here and start talking about, do you think he's really rapping his own shit? This dude takes the whole conversation someplace else. 19 is one of them dudes.
Because I think that's what makes the conversation interesting when we talk about culture is all the layers of like what it means. Otherwise, it's not. It's like looking at Chris Brown and Quavo shit. Like that's funny. You know what I'm saying? That's not culturally relevant to me. This is
Hey,
culturally
Pinky.
relevant. You feel me? So when I look at like Drake, when I look at Drake and Kendrick Lamar, I see a culturally relevant battle that's happening because you're dealing with like the psyche of hip hop at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody's reacting different. Some people start crying about colorism and shit. Like that's crazy to me. The fact that we would even enter that in the conversation, you feel me, versus actually just allowing them to go at each other when it comes to, no holds bar, which
Mm-hmm.
is what we usually allow in hip hop. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's like y'all adding all of this soft sensitivity stuff in the space, and that ain't hip hop.
That was first introduced by Rick Ross, calling him a white boy.
Hmm.
And it's snowballed from point A to point B. When Rick Ross called Drake a white boy, everybody kind of ran with, light skinned people ain't black, and he's not black, and he's this and he's that, and all that stuff got introduced. However, I hear where you're coming from. I don't I don't think the people introduced it as much as the participants.
Well, Drake introduced it when he put the text of his mom, and he was
When
like,
Drake
"She's
brought
being
and
a
he
racist
called him a racist, and
and
he
a
called
homophobe."
him a racist, right?
That was he brought that in there. He copped a plea with that one.
That was a response to Ross, though.
Right,
That
but
was his
you
response to
but
Ross.
you can't respond rapping. Don't respond as a victim.
But that's the part of Drake that has always been seen as one of something to his that one of his negatives is the fact that when it came to Aubrey, when it comes to Kendrick, Aubrey gonna do everything but rap. He's gonna whatever the beef is, he's gonna do whatever he can to not rap, which is why Push-Ups was such, oh shit, he actually rapped.
Right.
He actually said
But going
something.
going to your white mother and being like, "Mommy, they being racist and
That was corny.
homophobe" is
That was
crazy.
corny. That was corny. That was corny. Going to your white mom and saying they're being homophobic and racist. That was
But that allows people to now attack that side of you though. When you do that, like, all right, you brought your white mother into this. You feel me?
okay. Okay, but Keys, and you answer me this: does that not legitimize the claim that he's not culturally black because he went and did some shit that, by and large, we as black people, we as culturally black people, all universally kind of agree is some cornball shit to do and not something that, part of my French, that real niggas would do. We wouldn't do no shit like that. That real black people, we know the rules. We know that ain't
No,
it.
100%. I think it goes to the fact also he's a Canadian. He's a Canadian biracial man. He's not a Black American man, which there is a difference. And hip hop is a Black American sport. So Drake is really a foreigner, if you will. You know what I mean? So somebody was like, "You West Coast bias." I said, "No. If anything, I'm American bias."
Bias, right? American
this
bias
this
versus
the
West Coast
Olympics. It's
bias.
two different flags. You feel me? I'm being hip hop patriotism right here.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? I'm going for the home team. So I don't look at it like that, and I look at it like it's the same reason why Eminem hasn't been invited to be in the conversation because at the end of the day, we want somebody that's Black American to run the sport, like to be the face of the league, if you will. And I think that's something that's legitimate for us to want because we created it. You feel me? So I think that anybody that's outside of that, regardless of how talented they are, no matter how many hits they make us, they're gonna always be challenged because we want somebody that's from this bloodline right, of which it was created from, the essence of what it was created from, to be the face of it.
I respect it. I respect it. I respect it. I
You're gonna
respect it.
always be a foreigner in the sport. It's just a fact.
No, I respect it.
It it could have been it could have been, what's his name? What's the other Canadian dude from there? He locked up. What's his name? Tory Lanez. Like, it could be Tory Lanez out rapping everybody in the world. It won't matter. It's gonna be somebody that's Black American that's gonna want that spot, and we gonna want them to take that spot, regardless of how good he is. Right?
Well,
The
okay.
Weeknd is an amazing singer, but we don't want him to be the king of R&B.
We had this conversation a little earlier. I talked about this with some of the brothers on StreamYard. We were talking about. If somebody asked me, what culture is like, who's the better guy, Drake or Kendrick? And my answer was, well, that depends on which culture specifically that you subscribe to.
Right.
It's all under the umbrella of hip hop. You dig what I'm saying? But if you're twerking in the club, if you're riding late, riding dirty, smoking on something, might pop a pill or something, Drake is probably your guy, because that street club culture, he speaks to that. If you're Afrocentric, if you're a journalist, if you're more on the Black Power side and a hip hop head, Kendrick speaks to you naturally, because that
Mm-hmm.
he's like a mascot for that. You dig what I mean? Religion, culture, politics, journalism. He's a mascot for that side. I think what you just touched on just now speaks to yet another side, another culture. You dig what? Educated, foundational Black American, spiritualism, discipline. There's a whole. I don't even want to call it a subsect, because I believe Public Enemy is and they made it too big to be a subsect. And KRS-One, Dead Prez. There have always been rappers like that, speaking with street intent and street edge, but speaking from that place. And here you are, live on the live, representing that, and Kendrick speaks more to you than Drake does.
But I would say this: his last album, if we compare they both last albums, I like Drake's last album more than I like Kendrick's.
Okay, fair
Right?
enough. That doesn't exclude these people from the cultural conversation,
It,
though.
it doesn't at all. But when you talk about, like, there's different conversations we have. We know there's two sides of Black America, right? Whether you Martin Luther King, he talked about two different sides, right, of America. But there's two different sides of Black America, and we all know this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's from a spiritual or political place, right? Whether it's from a socially political place. So if we talking about the Malcolms, the Martins, the Farrakhan's, right? It's different as far as somebody that resonate with Farrakhan versus somebody that's gonna wholly put up that picture of Martin in their home,
Facts.
right? But while
Facts.
at the same time never recognizing the radical side of Martin. There's two sides of Black America that wants to assimilate and play it safe.
Mm-hmm.
There's separatists, there's integrationalists. So when we start talking about, like, the different things, then we go back to hip hop and we talk about the gods. Because
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning, everybody in hip hop was like, peace, God. You feel me? Then it became, what's up, nigga? So what we talking about through and through, when people look at Kendrick or Cole, they feel like they're connected to the root of hip hop, right?
Well,
More than
okay.
anything.
Let's just to not because I agree with what they're saying. Hip hop started off "What's up, nigga." Hip hop started off "What's up, nigga." It
But it
evolved
was
into
more
it.
peace, God,
No, it
than it
start
was nigga.
it started off "What's up, nigga" under the
The five
how do I say this?
percenters had it in the
That
chokehold.
that they definitely had their time. That was after Grandmaster Flash Melly Melanin was talking about the message. That was definitely a lot of "What's up, nigga."
Yeah.
However,
Tupac and
however,
Biggie fucked up the scene.
it was however, for just to clarify this, because I don't want to disagree with you, but just so we have it on record, hip hop was birthed from Black gangs in NYC, right? It came from that concrete, the flowers grew of hip hop. Next, but it was all under a different way of battling. It was a different way to go to war with each other without hurting each other. So the peaceful premise, the peace God, was kind of like the underlying factor of why hip hop came to be what it is in the first place. People were battling on cardboard so they didn't fight anymore. People were battling with rhymes as an alternative to stabbing each other. So yeah, you're right. It was always an undercurrent. You know what I mean? The
And it
birth of hip hop
was
was for peace.
and it had it was always connected to at the same time going against the machine,
That's a fact.
right?
That's a
and
fact.
and
That's a
so
fact.
it wasn't starting off my brother is my enemy. It was, bro, the our common enemy is the like, even when you talk NWA, it was fuck the police, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ice T had, like, you talking about Ice T and Ice Cube and all of them, they had messages that was against the system, right?
Facts.
So hip hop, if you look at a brand analysis, every good brand has an enemy, something that we're against,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right now, hip hop has become its worst enemy. So one rapper will have a message that saying y'all niggas is drug addicts, another one saying no, y'all niggas need to sit more. You feel me? Like, so now hip hop doesn't have that same central enemy anymore, right? And that's because it became a business versus a movement. So once it became a business, it was hijacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, now we in this place to where Kendrick Lamar represents some of the fundamentalist, right, ideas about, like, number one, he's a black American, so he's automatically adopted the black experience. You feel me? So he speaks from a reference point of the black experience, right? When you're listening to Kendrick Lamar. So therefore it's completely different because Lamar gonna make you think, wow, Drake is somebody you throw on the vibe and distract your mind. So somebody put it together earlier. There was like, Drake tells you Drake is somebody you go to for when he gonna tell you what you want to hear, and
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick gonna tell you what you need to hear,
Two
right?
separate sides of two
Two
separate sides of the
sides,
black experience. Those are both black experiences,
and
though.
both of the and although hip hop has always had duality, but there's always been protests against those aspects of duality, whether it was from politicians, whether it was from the community, right? Because we always wanted hip hop to have a dominant narrative that was more aspirational versus reflective of the negatives. And we looked at the who was that? What's the guy Dame Dash always calling out?
Kevin
Um
Lyles.
no, the other one.
You got to be specific. They ain't be calling
No,
out a lot of people.
the tall dude,
Leo Cohen.
Leo.
Okay.
Leo said it himself. He said during the time of Run DMC, he said we understood what those guys was making. It was aspirational. It wasn't reflective. They were speaking upon the things they wanted to see versus just what they came from in those environments. But he
Mm-hmm.
said we didn't want to sell that. He said it was easier to get behind negative rap, right? To push shit that's reflective of the streets,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when we celebrate where we at today, right, this is not something that is birthed from like the spirit of the culture wanting to be progressive and move forward. This is directly hijacking from, you're right, the labels deciding to put money behind certain messages because it's easier to sell junk food,
Then
right, than it is a
it
good
is
meal
sell
for
health
you.
food. Yeah.
So we already know that. So the biggest weakness that Drake has is the fact that people feel like he takes the easy route and he constantly creates products, right, that are not actually good for us, even though we like to consume them. We
Mm-hmm.
know that for
Mm-hmm.
a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that you're going to attack that aspect of him, because when you look at his legacy, that's the weakest point to attack.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start talking about your blackness, we're not talking about it from a racial standard. We're talking about it from a cultural point of view. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you good for the culture? And even though you are the top guy, somebody say
The,
stop
it,
blaming Jewish for the glorification. And get the fuck out of here with that. We know what the true game
I,
is. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
not. I'm not. I'm not
I
even.
don't I don't cop no pleas and take no knee. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is. Y'all going on with the bullshit, otherwise get off my line because every time I'm gonna say what I want to.
Bro, you whoever wrote that, I don't know if you hear on Keys' live or mine, but no one
Come
I
on,
invite
man.
up here, no one I invite up here is to be censored. So
Yeah, it is what it is.
if I
But
ask the brother to come
it's
up here, he's gonna say what he wants to say.
I think hip hop is fun. I think it's not the most important thing in the world, but I feel like it's a battle for what's the brand of hip hop and where do we take the narrative next. And I think that if Kendrick wins, right, it opens up the door for more of his type of music for acolytes and people that come under that same, right? If Drake remains dominant, we go get more club music. But the reality of it is the club is a very small part of most people's
That's
lives.
a fact.
But for people who live their life and their best part of their life is the club, that is the
He's
music that they're
their
more
hero.
connected to.
He's their
So I
hero.
get
That's
that.
their
I get it
mascot.
why everybody can't wait for the summer. Like I live a life where I'm not trying to escape my life. So I can sit down and listen to something as well. I don't have to have everything be club music. For people that live for Fridays and Saturdays, they need club music because that's when they actually feel alive. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Sometimes motherfuckers don't want to think no more, but they ain't really living.
I mean, I've stepped to some of my young boys who have told me right to my face that Kendrick, I don't when I hear music, I don't like to think. I've had them tell me that. I don't like to think. I just want to catch a vibe. I just want to get high, get drunk, and catch a vibe. And like I said, that's another section of the black experience. It's not the most healthy part. It's not the most positive part. We can't be happy to have a generation of kids who don't want to think. That's terrible. I came up in an era where nobody wanted to be the dumbest person in the room. You didn't want to be the dude who didn't know anything. And if you did, you were smart enough to keep quiet till you learned something. You walked out of that room with new information. But I come from an era where being dumb was not sexy. Being ignorant
Nah.
was not okay. Girls would, pardon me, because I got some ladies on the stream yard now, but I'm going to say this because it needs to be said. I remember when women wouldn't fuck you if you were dumb. They just wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
If you were a dummy, if you were special Eddie, nobody wanted to fuck you.
yeah. It was made fun of. There was a time where that was made fun of in the movies,
It
right?
period.
The nigga that was around that was slow, and the girls don't want to be with him.
I,
And then
and I don't know when that switched up. However,
they trade. They changed what characteristics and traits they wanted to sell us,
because one is
right?
easier to come by than the other
And
one, and the other one's
so
way easier to control.
they started selling us the dark traits of men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and instead of showcasing intelligence, even all our movies never show consciousness as a good thing. It was always something that was highlighted as corny. It's the reason Tupac didn't want to play in the movie because he didn't believe the stereotype of a black Muslim drug dealer exists because he had to play something that he didn't see, and he was like, "Why would I want to contribute to creating a negative archetype for people to
Mm-hmm.
follow?" Right? But we've never gotten that. That's why when my platform is essential because we try and showcase something that the media don't show because we don't control it
That's
enough.
a
So I
fact.
think that is with Kendrick. It's a necessary thing. I call it good influence. We don't have enough good influence. J. Cole. This is how you know it ain't about colorism. J. Cole is also biracial. Nobody's focusing on J. Cole's
Nobody ever questioned. I
biracial
saw that point
background.
when you said it. When you said it earlier today, I
Yeah,
saw that point. I saw memes coming at J Cole when he said something to the effect of, "Fuck the Grammys, them crackers never did nothing for us," and a bunch of people posted pictures with him and his mom, which I thought was funny, but completely irrelevant to the point he was making.
yeah.
Like,
But every single biracial person that I know, you know what I mean, they still acknowledge the reality. They can acknowledge the fact that just because you were born with a white mother doesn't mean that you can't look at the truth of reality in the experience, especially from the black experience. Right? A
it,
lot of them be like, yo, my white side is racist as shit to me. So are you supposed to then deny it because you a part of it? That's the same thing we tell white people.
it,
You go deny the history because you are white? No,
it
I don't
doesn't
care
it
if you
doesn't
biracial.
exclude you. Being biracial doesn't exclude you from the black experience.
Not at
It's
all.
actually another aspect, and there are plenty of times when your experience will be something that I may never run into. Especially, God, imagine if you can pass. Did you watch the Knicks? That dude Isaiah Hartenstein on the Knicks,
Mm,
he's black. His father's black as shit, but he doesn't. The first name will give it to you, and the last name will fuck it up. But he's like a black man, but he can pass.
right.
His
I, I
his
grew
black
up
experience is nothing like
I
mine.
grew up with I got six brothers. We all different colors. I got one very light skinned, I got one that's darker. So I never looked at color as the attribute of what made you black. Right? I
You talked about
always
this.
like
Yep.
I used to always think whether you mixed or whatever it is, you got a little bit, you black to me, right? Me, I started changing my ideas of it more from an ethnicity based thing now
Hmm.
because I understand that just because you're a black man don't mean that we are from the same culture, right? You can subscribe to what culture you want. So you can grow up in an environment where you're more culturally subscribed right, to a European or Caucasian mind
Mm-hmm.
and ideas and values. So it doesn't matter if you melanated. And we in America and we deal with multiple ethnicities, and because we're all melanated, we don't know how to differentiate it. Right? So it might be a Nigerian man, it may be a Jamaican man, right? It may be a brother from the UK. When we saying black, we're more so subscribing to a culture of values, right? And a liberation as well, to say that this is what we want to move forward to. Are you a part of this?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody ain't got the same
That's a
agenda. So I
fact.
I think that that's what you really poking at without having to do a whole entire thesis. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like hip hop allows you that space to talk that shit without actually having to goddamn detail what I'm saying. It's like, come on, y'all know what I mean. That's the black part, right?
That
Like,
that's
bruh,
the cultural thing that
yeah.
weaves us all together, and we the fact that we know again, there's cultural markers in all of it,
You
bro.
don't know you
You're
not
not
black because you're not
in
part
the
of the
loop. Yeah,
experience.
you have no
Obviously,
idea.
we gotta teach you. Oh, you don't get it.
If you don't know what hair being straightened in the kitchen smells like,
Damn, that
it,
just smelt the smell when you said it.
if you don't know what that old kitchen hot comb smells like, if you don't know that when the lightning strikes, you're supposed to turn off all the lights and
Yeah,
turn off all the TV and sit in the dark, if you can't recite certain episodes of the Cosby Show,
right. If you don't have, like, there's certain lines that all black mothers say. That's a shared experience. It's a
right?
through line that we all connect with that we didn't even know was happening in all
Yep,
households. Right? So
yep.
we have this shared diasporic experience that be like, oh, I'm connected with you.
Hmm.
You feel me? We have the same backgrounds, the same
We
programming.
know each other to an extent.
Right. So people from outside that experience have to be programmed into it. Somebody from the West Coast and somebody from the South have two different black experiences.
Hmm.
Right? And then when we get together, they like, oh, you don't eat goddamn what they had them fried. They had the fried peanuts, the pickled peanuts, or some crazy shit that they do on the South. And I was thinking black people don't do that, but I'm not from the South, so I wouldn't have done that.
Hmm.
But that's their experience. That doesn't mean they not black. It's a different type of black
But
experience.
meanwhile, when your grandmother says, "Get your ass in this house," don't
Yeah,
really
that's a
matter what.
black experience
Don't really
for
matter where you from.
sure.
Brooklyn, Alabama, Compton. You know, you know. You dig? It's just that. See, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're on my live, this is why it's good to have a friend like 19 Keys. It's good to be able to
Yeah.
say 19 Keys is my friend. Because I started off talking about a rap battle, and here we are,
It's the
40 minutes into a cultural
it's
conversation.
the same rap battle. I love the rap battle when you can dice, and that's the beauty of rap with lyrics. It gets you into other discussions.
Hip hop, hip hop. We're gonna
Right?
stop
Yeah,
saying
hip
rap.
hop.
This is hip hop.
When you got somebody who's saying something now, you can have a whole entire high level conversation off a
Mm-hmm,
rap song.
mm-hmm.
When you listen to people that ain't saying nothing, it's not for the point of thinking. It's so that you numb your mind, that you don't think. And one of the
And
biggest
to Drake's
issues
detriment.
with society is we don't want to think, and yet all we see is problems. And because we don't want to think as a people, they are allowed to get away with these crimes consistently over and over and over and over. It is what it
Mm-hmm,
is. I
mm-hmm.
get it.
In the bigger picture, ladies and gentlemen, where this all stemmed from is the fact that Kendrick makes the kind of music that urges you to think. And Drake makes the kind of music that urges you to not. It's
Nothing.
not that deep.
It's
You
just
know, not think.
vibes.
Just
It's
vibe.
vibes.
And you don't have to think when you vibe, but you do have to think. You have to be a thinker to fuck with Kendrick. I call it what you want. That music is not for people who don't like to think. They're double entendres. Kendrick makes what I call rewind music. You got to hit the
Yeah.
rewind button. You're not going to get it all the
I,
first time. It's not easily
I just think
digestible. It's layered.
he's a business. He creates a product, and that's his thing. His music doesn't even reflect what he really thinks and what he
Are we
feels.
talking
It reflects
about
the
Kendrick or Drake?
Drake. It
Okay.
reflects the best product that he feel like he can put out there and sell.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And that's what it is. It's for his shareholders. You know what I'm talking about? We got to
It's
figure
for
out how we gonna make
the business
profit
of
this
rap,
quarter.
not the business of
Right.
rap, not the culture of hip
So
hop. The business of
that's
music.
which is I understand that he's a business
Mm-hmm.
completely,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever can help him deliver the best product, so he may have people around for that. But Kendrick makes music that's reflective of what's on his spirit. and what's on his mind. So of course you're not going to get music that's socially relevant whatsoever, right? Because socially relevant music does not sell. Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about sports. Those are the three no's when it comes to media training.
Mm-hmm.
So of course Drake ain't about to talk about those things because that's not profitable.
Mm-hmm.
So he focused on the bottom line. How do we draw profit from this? So my next song, we're going to figure out the science. Let's make it hit. Let's sell a product that's marketable that people want to consume based on the data. And that's it. It's not really too much beyond that. And so when you hear other people say, damn, I don't want just a product, I want something I can feel. And that's when you get some Kendrick Lamar.
And we're loving it.
And or you get you some or you get you some Cole. And Cole makes good music. Really good music. And I
I
think
just wish
he
he hadn't backed out.
yeah,
I wish he hadn't backed
but
out.
wasn't on his spirit to it wasn't on his spirit to go this far.
I don't want to hear that. I mean, yeah, sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
that that
I'm on two sides of it. From a hip hop standpoint of competition, no, we going all the way,
mm-hmm.
right? But the industry is a weird place, and I feel like he would rather deal with the piece of backing out than deal with the actual industry of staying in it.
I completely dig that. Let me put it this way. I respect that. I don't like it. I respect it. I respect and I even understand it. And I even understand it. But Keys, I'm a competitive dude.
I understand.
And Cole been talking that competitive business since he stepped in.
Yeah,
And now it's
yeah,
like you finally got a chance to go ahead and do it with one of you've been telling us how nice your hands are, and now you finally got the opportunity to step in and go ahead and get busy. And you, all right, nah, this ain't good for the.
yeah.
Yo, bro, where the fuck are
He
you
didn't want
going?
to get in the ring. I think it was for him. It was he just wanted to talk shit in the gym. He didn't
Yeah,
want to get in the ring.
he
So
got in
when
the
it,
ring, but then he got out.
nah,
Like that's the you got in, you threw two good punches. Homeboy ain't
nah,
flinch. You got out.
he took the hair gear off. I was like, I'm just playing.
Yeah, I
Y'all
can't.
serious in here, man. I thought we
Yeah,
were just
like
having fun. Y'all over here serious for real.
and see, and I'm one of the guys who watched him train and bet on him. Like, oh no,
Right,
this
right,
dude got it. He
right.
got it. Like, oh no, no,
He
no, I'm
pump
putting money on it. No, no,
faked
no.
everybody.
Me, yo, you know, I gave J. Cole his first. I wrote J. Cole's first individual cover story. Like,
Wow.
I was number one.
Yeah.
I did it first in the Source magazine. The first cover he ever got by himself, his solo cover, that was me. There's pictures floating around of this guy standing two or three people in front of me at Dave Chappelle's block party
Yeah.
in Brooklyn back in
Yeah.
the day. There's a picture literally of me like right, but and he was right there. I
Yeah.
know what he comes from. I know what he's built for. What act when he did that, bruh. I was holding up his magazine like, yo, my boy about to.
But it's what it is. We ain't got Cole in it no more. He's out of
Your
it.
boy,
So
your
now
boy
we
Kenny is a.
no Kendrick. He did what he was supposed to do. You supposed to if you don't drop something where people having all these conversations about it, you didn't do anything that was relevant enough.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like the fact that he gets to have all of these so-called hidden messages in it on the day he dropped it and the time and what euphoria really means and what he's
Mm-hmm.
trying to say. I think that's some real four-dimensional chess. That's when you're not playing for the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you got something that you want to add into your legacy to where you're doing that for so many dimensions for the blogs, for the influencers, for the people to recap it, right? You're doing it for your core base. You're doing it for multi dimensions and saying, I'm gonna do something that gives everybody something, whether they like it or not. And I think that's the masterful thing. Me and Rashad was talking about this earlier. Is that previous battles, it was really guys who didn't like each other, like really got this hate and distaste for each other. So it was a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
You meet them in the street, somebody get knocked out. That is what it is. We throwing bows trying to break your
Mm-hmm.
face. This is more like a boxing match, right? Boxing matches are never as like when you're talking about just a slugfest. It ain't the same when it's boxing because you win it strategically. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? So sometimes when you get into boxing, you may get a Floyd Mayweather fight, you may get you a Tyson fight, when you may get you a Muhammad Ali fight. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what we get. And we get in a boxing match with this where it's really going round for round. And now we're trying to see if it's gonna go the distance.
Do you see? I'll ask you what I asked everybody on my StreamYard. Do you see a world where Drake comes back
I think
and lands a
if
relevant shot?
yeah, I mean, I don't think he's out for the count, but I think that what he would have to do, it has to be quicker, because I think time is relevant here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more time you let people marinate with this track, you know what I'm saying? I think the better it's going to resonate with people. Um, and I think that the way he has to frame and take control of this narrative is important, because remember, he's fighting on multiple fronts. It ain't just if he can rap good; it's if he can control this narrative, right? That he is who we say he is, and he can walk away from this, right, saying that I knocked down your boy. And I think the way he would have to do that is a multi front. Of course, he got to give us something we actually want to listen to,
Mm-hmm.
right? It can't just be rapping. We want a Drake track. Then he got to do it in a way to where he take what you threw at him, and then he transmute that into his very power, right? And I think that if he got the right people around him, he can do that. But if he don't, I don't think he can craft the right narrative, because it's a way to take everything and turn it around. You
This is
feel
what
me?
you said the last time we
Yeah,
was on the live with Bilal. You're very heavy on strategy.
it is.
The
It's
the
all of
fact
this is
that yeah,
strategy.
no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Kendrick said it. He said it inside the line, something about I know the angle you go get. You know what I'm saying? But I already foresee it, because they both thinking of how they playing chess with each other. You
Mm-hmm.
feel me? That's why neither one of them threw everything that they had out yet, because they're waiting for that round where it's like the 12th round. You know what I mean? Somebody got to get knocked out, right? If we don't want the draw, we don't want it. We want an undecided winner. So I
Right.
feel like they're waiting on that round to be like, all right, no holds bar. I see that you really, you know what I mean, throwing everything you got, so I'm gonna throw everything I got. And I think Drake would have to twist the narrative about his blackness, twist the narrative about his greatness. It would have to be almost even emotional a little bit. Like, man, I gave y'all all of this. I brought all these genres in. I come from all these different places. I made it.
And we
Basically
do
saying
not care.
the fact that I may not be who you think I am, it don't matter. He can go win so many crowds with that, right? He can win a lot of crowds with that. And if he rap it top tier, right? I think he need that flow he had on what you call it album, Travis Scott album, when he was dissing Pharrell.
Hmm.
He was going hard on that one. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't know if any of that works with Kenny. I don't know any of that works with Dot, because they're as good as he is. They're levels. They're just levels to this. And Dot is not. Dot is a better rapper. When it comes to this, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about making songs and making melodies and hitting the charts and all this other fly. When it comes to this, that's a he. This is what he does. So I don't even know if that's going. But we'll see. We'll
I agree.
see. You being
I agree. I mean, I think ultimately, I got Kendrick for the win. Ultimately, you feel me? I wanted to keep going.
we both do.
uh,
Yeah, I'm with you
First
on
of all,
that.
I freestyling, battling. You know what I mean? I have my own reasons beyond. I don't like to talk about on here and why I like to see things shape a certain way, because music actually does play a very large part, right, in culture and the way people think. Right, the music that you listen to actually does matter. So the reason I want to stay up to date on this and I have these conversations, because we act like the music industry doesn't shape our attitude towards life a lot, right? And it got people in a chokehold,
Mm-hmm.
right? Niggas is like, the fact that we have a sexy red and there's so many women that can relate to it is not a good thing for our culture.
At all.
I understand where we come from, but we're demoralized and we lost. So the
Mm-hmm.
music that we listen to is the food that we eat. And if we got a diseased palate, you feel me? And we eating toxic food, what the fuck else can we produce?
Toxicity across
So
the board.
yeah,
Okay.
niggas, we love shit from the streets. Niggas love doing drugs. Of course, niggas love getting high.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that that's good for us as a people, right? And so, for when I think about who is us as a people, right? And that's why I don't mind this war going on, because it sparks conversations like this. So I didn't think Cole needed to be in it unless he was going against Drake. So him and Kendrick Lamar does nothing to push the culture forward besides us seeing
I see
competitive
what you're saying.
sparring.
I see
You
what you're
feel
saying.
me?
I see what you're
But
saying.
Drake and Kendrick represents two sides of this. So
Mm-hmm.
now it forces this conversation to get had that's of a larger scale. So I'm glad that this creates that narrative. We having conversations about colorism and identity politics and things of that nature. We having conversations about hip hop as an industry or business and the core elements of it. So this is good because this is the first time y'all niggas actually get to think, right, in a minute. So anything to get you thinking is a good thing.
Is a good thing, right? Anything to jog the brain up, bro. I just DM'd you my math.
Yes, sir. We locked in.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure you're gonna keep that because next time you and the homie get on, I'm jumping in that one too. I'm
Done
jumping
deal.
in that
Bro, I
one too. I'm
appreciate you having me in.
all day, King, all day. Next trip, yo. When you come out to New York, back to the show
Done deal.
because we need to have this discussion
Done
like
deal.
in front of everybody.
I'm
So
planning my New York trip soon.
please and thank you. Please and thank
Yeah.
you.